Hello everyone, and welcome to episode 2 of the STFU GameCast. As you can see, today we're playing the Sega arcade home system classic Golden Axe. This was not the game I originally planned to do today, but there are some technical issues trying to get Fraps and DOSBox to come together as one, and I really wanted to get another game in, so I figured we'll do something a little quick and dirty. We'll do a little Golden Axe. Which is not to say that I hold this game in any low regard. It's a very, very fine beat-em-up, and it was a staple of my childhood, or maybe my adolescence, I suppose, with my best gaming buddies, so it seems appropriate enough. As I yammer on, the game is introducing our heroes. First is Axe equals Battler, which I'm guessing is a typo. His mother was killed by Death Adder, who is the game's uber villain. Now here we have Tyrus Flare, who is the game's resident magic specialist, because she's a girl. And what a girl, mind you. I'm pretty sure Tyrus was my first, adolescent video game crush. I mean, come on, hot chick, chainmail, bikini. Tyrus has it going on. Actually, I believe her name is Tyrus equals Flare, by the rest of this game's goofy punctuation errors. Yep, there it is. Her father and mother were killed by Death Adder, so she's, taking it up a notch from Axe, who merely lost one of his parents. And here we have Julius Thunderhead. I believe that is a porn moniker, when he does his dwarf erotica on the side. He is not wielding the Golden Axe, it's just a regular axe, but he is still a kick-ass dwarf. He's got the lightning magic, but he's the best melee character. He merely lost his brother, so he doesn't really have the same stake here. No offense, buddy. You should try to lose a sibling next time, and some parents, before you throw your hat in the ring. Now, I'm going to cheese the game in my favor right now. I'm going to warn you, I am not a great expert at this game, so you are likely to see some deaths, some continues. I'm just warning you that right off the bat. If you're looking for the super awesome, ultra skilled Ponzor's playthrough, this is not your bag. This is just some dude who kind of likes this game playing it. As noted, we'll be taking Tyrus along, because if you're going to looking for someone for a half an hour, it should be a woman in a chainmail bikini. Now, this game does have a plot, if we're going to be extremely generous with the word plot. Here it is. And I guess Alex died too. A lot of people are dying, so let's just go hack people up. That's kind of like about this game. Nowadays, every game has to have a big story and, cutscenes and everything. These old games are just like, yeah, this dude killed your friend, just go murder him. Now, the game, as you can see, is very simple, hacky-slashy, good times. You'll be fighting the dreaded palette swap army of Death Adder. There's about like 7 or 8 different mobs, and they all come in different, shiny colors. So, when you fight the blue guys, you're like, oh, no problem. But then when he comes with the green helmet, it's on. These little blue guys are thieves. They run around with bags full of magic bottles, which power my magic spells. You can see at the top there. Right now, I'm only at level 1, so my spell will be kind of piddly, so I gotta get some more bottles to fire that up. Forget all that. We're gonna go steal this lady's chicken leg. Yes, that monster is called a chicken leg. Look at this. Everyone's fighting for the critter. This may be reminiscent to some of you, or probably very few. Golden Axe would be resurrected many years later in this current hardware generation as Golden Axe Beast Rider, where this lady, Tyrus Flare, came back riding her mighty steeds to take on the forces of evil. The game was a complete catastrophe, both critically and commercially, probably ensuring that Golden Axe is, if not dead, in a very, very serious coma. But these will be the happier times for Miss Flare when her chicken leg riding exploits were greeted with much more enthusiasm. As you might imagine, this is ideally a two-player game, but that one could not be performed today, so this is strictly a solo run. And yes, I am cheesing these guys with a chicken leg. The game is pretty easy, single player. There are a lot of hilariously lazy exploits you can do in this game to kill monsters, especially if there are cliffs nearby. The last boss is rather tricky by yourself, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. As you can see, occasionally I'm doing a special move where I twirl the axe. I turn around and I twirl the axe around and then hit the guy in front of me. This is an incredibly potent move, powered appears to be purely by the fact that it looks cool. See? It looks cool, so that's why it does a lot of damage. It is your best meat and potatoes attack when you can't lazily kick enemies off of ledges or steal one of their monsters. Okay, as you can see, we're going after Death Adder now, so we're taking a shortcut through the Turtle Village. Sadly, it is not a village populated by turtles, which would be much more interesting than the one we get. Here's the first of ledge exploits, as you can see. Sorry. The Death Adder guys really did not train properly in the use of cliff warfare. They are a little too gung-ho. As you can see, it pays off there, but... Alright, that's enough, boys. And I will be using that trick exclusively and extensively throughout this game. There are even many mini-boss or boss encounters you can avoid or completely cheese your way through by knocking people off of cliffs, so that's one of the reasons this game plays so quick and dirty. And of course, this is back in the day when games didn't last 20 hours. And this actually has a bonus level the arcade didn't have, so as short as this game is, it was originally even shorter. I believe it's 7 stages. Oh, come on now. You guys stole my dragon, that's kind of a dick move. Alright, my magic's powered up, it's no point sitting on it anymore. It's time to let it rip. Let's find the first batch of idiots we can dump it on. Now they're just gonna stand there. See, I love these guys. They're so cocky. They have their crappy level Z henchmen down here, and they're just gonna stand there and be like, eh, well, okay, we'll get into it now, I guess. Apart from the Beast Rider debacle, this game actually has a bunch of other sequels from long ago. None of them have been received as well as this one was. You know, just the way things are. Here it comes! That's the money shot right there. I believe every promotional shot of this game featured that in some way, because that dragon coming out of the sky was the coolest thing in the 16-bit era. And it still looks pretty cool. But, yeah, that was... Whenever, you know, the Sega wanted to show off the power of their machine, they'd be like, yeah, check out this dragon head. Yeah, that's a hot Amazon chick summoning a giant, badass dragon head out of the sky. That's where you want to put your money on. Okay, the village is apparently on the back of a giant turtle, which is kind of strange. It reminds me of Discworld in a strange way. I wonder if... I mean, I can't imagine there was any connection there, but I'm going to pretend there was. As you can see, stealing the dragons from the enemies and then turning on them is an incredibly effective and efficient killing strategy. Now here's, speaking of killing, let's see if we can jump over this without error. Ooh, a little closer than I liked, but... they were smart to call those little guys thieves, otherwise you might feel bad about setting them on fire and stealing their magic bottles. Not that I do, but... Ah, I knew you were coming out of that door. This ain't my first rodeo, giant hammerman. Another trick here is that if you advance too far, his buddy will come out. So if you want to be a cheap little bastard, you can just wait and fight him one at a time by holding back. That's right. I'm not only metagaming this guy, I'm using the dragon. That's how you get victory, my friends. While I'm setting this man on fire, I suppose I'll talk about my love of this game. Much like Toe Jam and Earl from the first GameCast, this was a staple of our basement gaming adventures. You know, when we fired up our Genesis. You You know, it's 2-player co-op, which we are obviously huge fans of. You know, it's got that great Conan the Barbarian style, I don't know if you call it high fantasy or low fantasy. I guess you could make a case for either. You know, it looked great and sounded great. You know, the soundtrack is actually quite good. And not many people reference the soundtrack as a classic, but I think it holds up. Ooh, tempting to unleash the dragon on these guys. We're gonna wait for the inevitable boss that comes out of that door. Hey, 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 hey! I need the dragon. I'm not gonna fight you guys fair. As you can see, we've already entered the gold stage of generic flunkies. Later in the game, during the ending sequence, they actually show you the aggregate stats of all the different palette swaps, so you can see where your color matches up. Oh, that guy thought he had a good ambush coming, strolling out the door. But there's just too much dragon. Uh-oh. Oh boy. Now the trick for any of these games like this is just to stay out of the guy's hitbox. See, he can't. His Song of Sword is too long, so you get right up in there. He can't do quite about it. All right. Give me a sandwich here. More food. Fine. Dicks. Alright, we're going to cross the Fiend's Path to reach the castle. I personally would have gone with the Peace Path or the Free Money Path, but Tyrus here is a badass. She doesn't take the easy way out. She does love throwing guys off this thing, as I do. Oh no, don't do it to me. Oh, come on. It's only fun. Well, he did fall off, so I suppose we'll take our comedy where we can get it. This level marks the first appearance of these skeletons. These guys are real assholes. They attack quickly and get you into combo locks. So we're gonna cheese them. And we're gonna get this guy by toe tickling. Yeah, tickle those toes. Look at that. You can't break that. And this guy we will also cheese. Tickle those toes. One wonders how you even hurt a skeleton by hitting him with a sword, but she's a badass Amazon that can pull a dragon out of her little underpants, so who am I to doubt the mighty Tyrus flair? I remember playing this as an arcade game. One of the main differences is that when you kill the enemies, they leave little statues behind. And I presume for hardware limitations they had to get rid of that, but I remember that was the first time when I had seen, I believe it was, I mean there was Contra and everything, but this was the first time where I saw a home console game that was pretty eerily similar to the arcade version, and that was a big deal. You know, it was like finally we had hit the apex of technology. You know, obviously years later Sega would, with the help of Namco, break all barriers with Soul Calibur. That would be the death of the arcades, but this was still a hot game back in the day. Like, wow, that Golden Axe game, it looks so badass in the arcades, and we could play it at home whenever we feel like it. Sorry, Tyrus, I'm talking too much and not paying attention. I told you, the skeletons are real dicks, though. Wish I had some magic, but I don't. I mean, I have some, but it's pretty terrible. I do kind of like how equal opportunity the villains are. I mean, you got evil skeletons and Amazons, and they're all kind of working together for the common evil cause. You know, Death Adder must be a very convincing evil superlord. That's enough out of you. This always one of my favorite little touches in Golden Axe was the campfire scene. Especially if you had your ally there. Because you would have Tyrus on the left looking bored and Axe Battler looking fidgety on the right. He'd be staring down at his feet looking kind of sad, and maybe you wondered if he had made a pass at Tyrus and she had shot him down and it was just a really long, awkward night at the campfire. Well, the turtle voyage was not enough. Now we're riding on a giant eagle, and here's where people fall off all over the place, to my great amusement. God, I love this game. Now this cliff here is extremely important, not just for hilarity like that, but there's a boss battle here in a second, and it looks like that corner, this corner right here, is going to be off the screen, but it's still there. It can still help you in this rather tricky little mini-boss encounter. As you can see, I'm going to be exploiting it to its full effect. I'm going to try to hold on my dragon, too. Obviously, it's best if you can get everybody on one side so they don't jump you while you're trying to get your flame on. Now, you want to get these guys to get knocked off the bottom ledge here. This could be a little tricky because A, there's two of them, and B, they walk in a strange kind of circuitous way that you do, so you have to sneak up behind them. That was not sneaking. Here we go. Come on. Oh boy. It's going to get a little more complicated. Haha. Get back there. Get back there. Thank you, Pit. You have saved my life. I believe this is where the original game ends. I don't quite remember. You fight either Death Adder Jr. here, or Death Adder Sr., or Death Adder's weird uncle from the Poconos, or whoever it is, and then the King and Queen directed the one final charge. Look at that smug bastard laughing at me. I always like those big guys with the funky heads and the hammers. I like to think they're the ancestors of what are they called? The Bobo or Dobo from Double Dragon. Like, for as long as that family's been alive, they've always been, you know, video game mini bosses. You know, big giant flunkies. As you might imagine, a big boss is going to come out of there, so I'm saving my magic for that gentleman. And not only that, I cleverly left these right here in the playing area, so I can scoop those up after I shoot my dragon load on the Death Adder. And all that sounded a lot less impressive as I died. But it's gonna work. You kicking bastard. I would do that jump kick more often, except I'm not great with the double tap here with this Xbox controller. I'm using the analog stick. The D-pad on the Xbox controller is just horrible. Thankfully, you don't need any D-pad when you got a dragon. That'll take out the skeletons and beat up old Death Adder here pretty bad. Now we'll move in for the rather simplistic kill. As the other guys, his axe range is kind of wide, so as long as you slide in up next to him, he can't really hit you with it. And you can just go to town on him. Bonk, bonk. How can I love a game where you get this bad guy down over your knee and then you just bonk him on the head with the hilt of your sword? Can you pick this guy up? Come here, you. Come here! Poor Death Adder hasn't got a single lick of offense in yet. He's seriously losing his big boss cred. One of my favorite touches in the game here is the king coming down upside down from the suspension rope and dumped unceremoniously on his head. Yeah, that's good stuff. Ah, see, he disappeared into that door. That's clearly the sign of a conspiracy, a door. So we better hop on in there. While the king surreptitiously eyes the delightful Amazonian ass of one Tyrus Flare. Now this part of the game, I don't remember if this was the new stage or not, but this stage is pretty much guys falling off willy-nilly, and it is just fun. I think you can do this entire section without legitimately fighting anybody. I mean, guys literally just sometimes just appear just to fall off. Come on, guys. Yeah, see, they're just falling off. I don't know if they didn't play test it, or they're just like, yeah, it'll be fun. Hold on, wrong side. Because 2 can play at that game, and I'd rather not play at that game. Oh boy. I was going to cleverly dodge him and send him flying. But that's going to have to wait. Why don't you slide on down here, Mr. Goblin? Oh! Hoist by my own petard. Guess I had that coming. Careful here, make sure I get my magic loaded up. One does not fight Death Adder on an empty magic book. It'll be beyond overkill, it looks like. The fight with Death Adder is rather tricky, at least one player. It's not too bad 2-player because one guy can fend off his annoying his annoying minions while the other guy concentrates on the big man. Of course, I will not have that luxury here. Charge! Yeah, you guys are going over too. Just because you're big shiny gold mini bosses doesn't mean you get the luxury of a fair fight. Oh boy. Hey, come on now. Look at that guy walking off in empty space. Nighty-night. Here comes the epic music. Now the thing that makes this battle tricky is that these little skeletons here, they have like 8 gazillion hit points, so you can't just kill them and whittle on this guy by himself. That would make this battle rather easy, so fair enough, but still rather annoying. It's really best just to try to go over there, get a few pops in, and then run away like a sniveling coward. Because those skeletons will hit you from behind, lock you into a nasty 1 or 2 damage combo, and that is pretty unfortunate. For his part, if Death Adder hits you, he gets to launch a spell afterwards, like thus. Thank you, Death Adder. Doing double damage, so you kind of want to avoid that. The Dragon spell did quite a bit of damage to him, but he still has some gas left in the tank. See? You try to get a good stun lock on a boss. And some asshole undead guys running up all in you with the shield. Ha! I was already dead, Death Adder. What do you think of that? Oh, it's gonna hurt my score at the end. I've died way too many times, once of my own drunken tomfoolery. I believe my buddies and I did once manage to kill these skeleton guys. It took forever. So they are... I shouldn't say mortal, because they're skeletons, but they are technically killable, but I believe they have, like, way more hit points than the last guy does, so... You know, one wonders why they didn't take over when they had the chance. Come here, you. Ah, so nice you can get a whole combo in on. I like his, it's got a good evil throw in there. I think it has all the basics. The dragons, the skull, the weird goblin orc guy holding globes of power. I think he's really touched on the major pieces there. Let's see if I can go without using another continue. Get away from me! I'm trying to kill your boss. Alright! Here it comes! Oh, I can't tell you how satisfying that was when I played this game as a younger man. You got to see a giant big-ass axe go into a dude's chest cavity. That was worth the price of admission right there. And here comes the game's really strangely cute ending. It involves kind of wacky... Here it is. Wacky music while the... the cast of the game is presented to you. The cast is just 3 heroes and an endless supply of palette-swapped schmucks, but here they are. We had, what was it, 6 Henagers already? I like how they don't know the weight of some of them. You know, they couldn't get the statistician in there at time to get that straightened out. The Longmoan, who apparently stars with Julius Thunderhead in the porn business. I wonder who actually sat down and was like, oh, we gotta get the weight and height on these guys. That's important data. Well, it's a nice little personal touch, I suppose. Even with the surprisingly relentlessly upbeat music following a game of Conan-style barbarism. Oh, I never even gave the technical specs on this. I played this game on Steam, like I did Toe Jam and Earl. It was part of, once again, the Sega Classics pack. As I mentioned, I played it on an Xbox 360 controller. This game, as far as I can tell, was emulated perfectly. It didn't have some of the FX chip sound goofs that the Toe Jam and Earl emulation had. Ah, the Bad Brothers. And Lieutenant Bitter. Perhaps he was, oh, they're all beer-themed. Now you can tell what these guys were doing late at night when they were coming up with these names. They were getting hammered. What do we call this guy? Colonel Bitter, man. They got General Heartland. Kind of strayed from the theme there, but that's okay. I guess I do drink a fair share of beer out there, so we'll call it close enough. Ah, the chicken leg. Specialty wagging tail. You've really done a lot for yourself there, chicken leg. The Red Dragon, of course, was the most coveted of beasts in this game because it shot all the way across the screen, but I believe there's only 1 or 2 in this game, so you don't get to use it as a crutch very often. Blue Thief, ooh, the unfortunate listing of his belongings as pot. But, you know, we were young and innocent back then. We didn't see the double entendres. Villager A and Villager B, very important that we listed them in here. There he is. Death Adder Jr. I kind of like that Death Adder, you know, when he was trying to think of a name for his kid, and he's like, dude, I'm Death Adder. He's gonna carry my name, damn it. But I believe Deathbringer is the last guy. I might be getting that confused. Well, we'll find out in a moment. There's just a very long line of areas. A long line of people named Death in this kingdom. I don't know if Adder is meant to be a snake or the guy just adds death. Like, you know, 1 corpse, 2 corpse, 3 corpse. Here are our heroes. Tyrus, of course. Amazon or not, she's still a one. Will not list her weight, even though she's probably in incredible shape. Axe Battler's somehow hitting 200 pounds at 5'10". I have my doubts. No offense, Axe. I don't care how bulky you are. I think you're fibbing there. Yeah, he's pretty ripped. Yeah, there's the scene I was talking about earlier. Axe kind of looks depressed there. Like, he's like, hey, Tyrus, you know, what are you doing Thursday night? And she's like, oh. And there's just a long, awkward silence. And Gilius, who doesn't care for that, is just going to leave and play baseball with one of the bad guys. Oh, Waka. You software designer extraordinaire. Kianci, another, these are some great names here in the Golden Axe credits. Kane. These guys are, yeah, they're like Seal, you know, they all have their one name thing, man. They don't need these, their boring real names. Roko. But anyway, that was the STFU playthrough of Golden Axe. It was not it was not as long and epic as the Toe Jam Mineral one, but I wanted to add this one in there. For me, it's a nice callback to the time where games, basically, you were told to go and beat the shit out of a ton of people for a extremely tossed off reason, and I appreciated that. You know, I like modern gaming, don't get me wrong, but it was something nice about plugging the game on, being told, hey, this dude killed your dad, and you get to go whip some ass for half an hour. And I think it's important that we preserve that sort of thing in our modern gaming culture. And both indie culture and some of the more modern designers are bringing that back. So that's great to see. A fine example would be the Scott Pilgrim video game that's based on the movie, based on the comic book, etc., etc. It's a classic River City Ransom style beat 'em up, and I think it does great honor to games like this and carries on the proud tradition of just sheer mindless violence. So if you're interested, this game, as I said, is available on Steam. You can get it as part of the Sega pack, or you can just buy it for a couple bucks on its own. You know, it's not going to last you for a million years, but it's good for a few run-throughs, and it's a great two-player co-op game if you ever get a chance. Alright, thanks for listening, guys, and I will see you for episode 3. Oh, let's see how I did. A++. Very, very nice. Not A+++, I'm sorry to say, but I believe I will take that on any day of the week. Congratulations.